You have such a beautiful home. We were telling Katie, you guys,
Thank you.
so nice.
And a beautiful wife.
Yes, most importantly.
Thank you. Both are very expensive.
As they should be.
Yeah, good choices.
I'm kidding.
No, he's not. Now what are we doing, Katie? Are we doing like our intro kind of thing? Or what are we doing? We're just going to jump in here?
I'm so fucking tired. I have no idea. I don't even know where I am right now, Kate. So.
You're in Calgary.
We got you.
Okay, thank you.
Just start talking? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pi, our podcast from our house. I'm Katey Sagal. And
Hi. I'm not there, but I am still Kurt Sutter.
and he's in another house right now. Where are you, honey?
I'm in. I'm being held captive in a small dark room
You are?
by men in hoods.
Uh-oh.
And no, I'm.
Did you sleep last night?
I'm in the beautiful country of Canada, in Alberta, Calgary.
Right.
No, in Calgary, Alberta.
Awesome.
I always forget which is the city, which is the state,
Province,
whatever it is.
whatever. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, you're in Calgary.
Can't understand why they keep stopping me at the border.
You have not met our guests today. I did their podcast, and they.
I've not. I was supposed to meet our guests, and then what happened? Oh, I had a little COVID scare
Oh, you did. That's right.
because you thought you had COVID.
Did I? It was me.
Yeah.
You were the scary one.
I was the scary one, but I didn't have it. Neither did you.
You didn't have it. No,
No.
but you thought you might have it.
We were cool.
And then we thought it best that I remain in my room.
Yes.
Well, we
But
still
lovely
want
to
you
meet
back.
you virtually, and hopefully you'll have me on your
Yes.
fantastic podcast.
Oh,
Yes.
we would
We
love
can't
that.
wait. It'd be an honor.
They're so fun to talk to. Anyway, so for you guys that aren't watching, this is Rachel Bilson and Olivia Allen. And just to fill you guys in, we started this podcast, Pi, People, Influences, Experience, sort of to have like an impromptu conversation like we're at a dinner party. We don't do any research. I know some about you guys because I've done your podcast. And we did get very into the weeds.
We did.
Didn't we?
We absolutely
We really did. But that's kind of our hook, and it's more about knowing who you are, not what you do. So we're
Amazing.
not so concerned with, we all know what we do, right? But it's more kind of like how you got.
It's, the nature and nurture that manifested, the person that ultimately made the choices you made to
Right.
be who you are.
Yeah.
I know. So it's a little bit of a history lesson. So
Cool.
since you're our first duo,
Oh.
have we done a duo?
Let me just emphasize by saying we do no research. Basically, we are completely ill-prepared for everything. That's
That's
sort of
how,
we
yeah.
roll.
We like it.
I
guys do it
actually
that way?
like that better because
Absolutely.
it sparks organic conversations. Because when you meet
Absolutely.
people, you don't typically
Know anything
read their
about them. Yeah.
Wikipedia before sitting down with someone.
I don't know. I'm a big Googler. So's Kurt. We're just like, who's... It's kind of crazy how
Yeah.
you can find out a lot of stuff.
You can. You
Everyone's
can.
Googleable.
So I think since there's two of you, I know you guys are long-term friends.
Yes. Yeah.
Like since elementary school kind of friends?
Like,
High school.
yeah.
It feels like elementary school, but it was actually high school.
Okay. But
Yeah.
are you both... Let's hear where you're from.
Okay.
We grew up in the valley.
Both of you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of us. So that's why, even though we officially met in high school, it was still the same upbringing, same groups of people. So it feels like it's been that long.
And did you have siblings? Did you grow up in single parent homes? What? Take
You wanna
turns.
go
Yeah, I know,
first?
I'm like, you should
My
go.
story, you're gonna need
its own
its own
podcast.
podcast. But
Jump on in.
Well, I was born in Santa Barbara to a mom and a dad. I have a brother and a sister. And I recently found a new brother. But yeah, that happens on 23andMe.
Oh.
So I was born in Santa Barbara, moved to LA at around 10. We actually moved to Los Angeles because my sister and I bullied my mom into acting. So we moved from Santa Barbara to LA. And then what happened was I found fun. I found
At a young age, fun.
11.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at 11, I started getting in trouble. And so I went to the public school. Rachel went to the private school, right?
Got it.
High school.
High school. Yeah.
Which high school?
Notre Dame.
Oh, my niece went to Notre Dame.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
I like Notre Dame.
Yeah,
That's
it was
a good
great.
school.
It's a good
You were right
school.
across from the Galleria.
That's right.
I know exactly where you were.
Yep.
And
So is this a other side of the tracks friendship?
Yeah, it actually is. It
I mean,
is.
yeah, I guess you could say that when it went to high
Yeah,
school.
it's like, okay, so once we got to high school, there'd be these carnivals and these parties, and it would be like us public school kids would come to the private school kids' parties
Carnival
and
and
carnivals and football games, because that's where
Wait a minute. Who is having carnivals?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame would have a carnival.
They had fucking carnivals?
Yes.
There
Holy
was a
shit.
full-blown carnival.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, honey, Buckley, our kids went to Buckley,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
lower school. They had carnivals.
Yeah.
All the private
Yeah,
schools
no,
had carnivals.
No, I wouldn't call it a carnival.
These were real
Those are proper-
carnivals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing.
kind of love
okay,
that.
sorry. Continue.
Didn't they have carnivals in Jersey, honey? No carnivals in your schools in Jersey?
Yeah, we did, but that was a whole different kind of carnival.
Where in Jersey?
Where in Jersey?
Yeah.
I grew up in a town called Clark, which was about 45 minutes outside the city and 10 minutes away from Rolway State Prison.
Oh.
He likes that
Speaking of
colorful
That's how I
Jersey.
locate people to where I grew up.
Yeah.
So do you have brothers and sisters
I
too?
do. I have an older brother. He's kind of who got me into like the social scene because they're a little older and he hung out with all these really cool girls. So I always wanted to, get in with the cool kids. So I
Right.
started really young because I would hang out with my brother who's 4 years older and all of his friends,
Right.
which had an influence on so many things.
Were you wanting to get in trouble too, Rachel?
Of course I did get in a lot of trouble.
I gotcha.
A lot of trouble.
Yeah, those older siblings will do it.
Oh yeah. But he introduced me to like the best music. There was a lot of things that were cool that came along with it. And we had a single mother. And our house was the party house. Like I'd have people sneaking in and out of my bedroom window all the time.
Second story?
No.
No, first story.
I know.
Lucky
Second
girl.
story is like,
Yes.
I was really, I just made it easy for people.
Right.
But yeah, so we all started young growing up in the Valley, for sure.
Right. Yes.
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 I do understand that.
Yeah.
What did your parents do? What did your single mommy do for
like-
money?
Well,
For that money.
I'm trying to
For the
think.
money.
So
Did she work at a carnival?
yeah, she was
a carny.
working that. Yeah, she was. That's what she did. My mom has always been in like the counseling space, but my dad, he's made like TV shows and things like that. Like
Oh.
he's in the business.
Got it.
So I grew up around that. So it's kind of like two sides of things. Like I grew up around that, going to sets, like all that, and then the other side was, just home partying,
Did
socializing.
I know that? I wonder because I grew up that way too. So
Yeah, I know.
What
I
did
think
your
we talked
dad?
about
Did we
it.
talk about it?
Yeah.
He's writer, producer, director. He's had some shows and movies and
Right.
things like that. Like it was always kind of sci-fi stuff and
So you probably have a pretty down to earth view of all this.
yeah, because when you were talking, it was the same thing because you grew up around it. It kind of just
Makes it different.
it does make it different. It does.
How about you? Your parents were.
My
Every time we throw it,
Your parents were
Get to the other side of the track.
that's way more interesting over there.
I lost my dad at 15. Yeah.
That's hard.
It is hard. And that kind of threw the family for a loop. So I grew up with 2 alcoholic parents.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Yeah. And
Sorry. Was Dad, was it because of that a little bit?
he got shot by a police officer,
Oh,
drunk driving. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's a drag.
That's a drag. And it was a wrongful death, so that kind of really turned the whole family upside down. So my mom struggled a lot. I had a brother in and out of jail. It really is the wrong side of the track kind of story.
God, you must have been so appealing to Rachel. I loved kids on the wrong side of the tracks.
I'm like, okay, your dad was
You're
shot by my mom,
mine.
your brother's in jail.
That's right.
You're my best friend.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was different. I wasn't, so I wanted to go to set. Like that was like the fantasy, I was like, oh, that's so glamorous. Like people, like you're okay if you're doing that.
Right.
Right?
Gotcha.
Because no one was okay where
home.
I was. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So it was
Okay.
very different.
Wow. Are you the oldest?
Youngest.
You're the youngest, the
Yeah.
baby. So older brothers in jail.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's now currently living with us. He just got out. He's been in and out my whole life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah. How's he doing
He's
right
doing
now?
great. He's got like a year and a half sober. He's
job?
He's a really like strong muscle guy. He's got a job at a gym and he's starting to personal train. And like my mom's got 15 years sober. So there's a few miracles happening, myself included. And,
Yes.
but it was definitely a different kind of upbringing.
That's how Olivia and I really know each other, Kurt, is from our mutual club.
Yep.
Kurt's in the club
Right,
a lot.
where we met.
Yes, where we met. Well, we met actually in the sister club. In the other room. He was there kind of.
Okay.
What were you doing over there, Kurt?
Getting help.
No, finding girls.
I was getting recovery. Thank you. Very much.
Yes, he was, but yeah.
That's
Definitely
funny.
girl meets boy on the campus there, so that was very nice.
I think it's a great thing to have in common with someone.
It really has worked for us.
Yeah.
I've been married a couple of times, and having the program of recovery is definitely
It's a big deal.
helpful. So when you have alcoholism, that's what I'll say.
Yeah.
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 So let's keep going. Let's see. So what did you, when you were growing up, did you both want to be actors?
Yeah.
You did. You both wanted. Did you want to do it?
I think my parents were always like, if you want to do it, finish school and then you can do it.
Okay.
So I think I did.
Did you do school plays and all?
Oh
that?
yeah. That's when I really, high school in particular, the plays and all of the musicals, all of that stuff was like, okay. Or my dad said to me, you're kind of good at this. Do you want to try it? Like it was literally that conversation. I was like, thanks a lot.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
And you too? Were you in your public school plays? No, not at all. You were.
She was ditching.
You were
I got
school?
kicked out of 5 high schools.
Oh my goodness!
I know. They couldn't keep
so
me.
opposite.
It's so opposite. We're like the odd couple.
I know.
But that requires a certain acting skill as well.
It does.
That is performance art at a different level.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They couldn't keep me in the classroom.
Like you just kept.
I just had to leave. I
She
had
just
to
ditched
go.
all the time.
I ditched. I had an actual addiction to ditching. Wow. And I would like get people on my team. I'd be like, if you come to my house, we can eat this and we can, it was like, I'd always create a mood. Like we could go to my house and watch Ricky Lake and eat top ramen and they'd be like, I'm in.
Wow.
I know.
So much better than going to class.
Really,
Right?
Did you get a high school diploma?
I did later on in life. Once I got sober, I went back to school, got a diploma, and then went and did a master's program in spiritual psychology.
Oh, at USM?
Yes.
Okay. I know all
Yeah.
about USM.
That's where I met my husband.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you're both in the spiritual psychology world a little
Yeah.
bit. Well, that's
Yeah.
helpful.
It's just like having a program with someone. We have that kind of basis to go back to when we get lost,
Got it.
which we do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you weren't ditching school.
No.
Did you go to college?
Well, when you say go to college, I went for a semester down in San Diego, but I never went to class, you know?
Right.
Live in a
It's just
dorm.
like you, Katie.
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
A little bit. Well, I went to Cal Arts for, I don't even know if that's college, but I went there for 6 months and then was like, no, I'm going to go work.
Right.
So I dropped out and got a job and went on the road and blah, 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 blah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it was pretty, But I was also in my rebellious sort of, you tell me to go left, I'm going right.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Right.
sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
well, great. So you went to college
Yeah.
for a minute.
I left with no credit.
Because you started working very young.
I did. It was
Yeah.
kind of like driving back and forth and trying to start this thing. And it just eventually, my dad's like, I'm not going to pay for you to party down there in San Diego. Like, if you're going to, you have to come home.
So now you both have kids, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's our curious questions about that, because I'm always curious how our childhoods affect our parenting styles. So you can each take that question. How do you, I know for me, I remember having my little kids and hearing my scary dad's voice come out of my mouth
Yeah.
at a certain point and realizing, I'm way more affected by the way I grew up than I realized.
Yeah.
And I needed to do some work around that. So what are your journeys with parenting as influenced by your upbringing?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm a single mom, so I'm emulating that, That's what I had most of my whole life. My mom remarried actually when I was 15 or 16, but for a good chunk.
Right.
But I will say my mother, she's very spiritual and has that connection. So I'm like comparing it now to other kids where like grandparents are saying like, why'd you leave your brain at school? And my mom was the total opposite, where it's like, you're doing great, do the best you can. Just the emphasis on love was always her through line, which was really nice. I know, and I'm noticing it now that I'm older and I have my daughter, that I was really lucky to have that.
Very.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you lead with that?
I try my best, for sure.
I think she does, though. You do.
I
You do
try.
lead with that.
I try to.
Her mom is absolutely incredible. Like, she's the woman who got
she's a
me on
good
my
lady.
path. Like, there was a time where I was suffering so much because of my mom's alcoholism that I would go once a week to sit with her mom for our designated hour to just heal. And she put me on my path 100%.
Wow. Helped you get sober?
Yeah, she helped me. Like, she became a substitute mom when mine was gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow up with an alcoholic mom. Very hard.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that affected your parenting?
I think it's the reason I got sober. I remember the day I got sober, I wrote a letter to my unborn child. And I was like, I don't know who you are. I know I want you. And I know that I have to put this down in order to find you. Like, because I was, obviously unwell, but it dictated every choice. Like, my whole entire reason for getting sober was that I wanted children and I wanted to be a sober mom.
Isn't it great?
It's the best thing in the world.
And that they've never seen you loaded.
Not once.
Love that.
Not
That's
once.
so good. We
Yeah.
have the same experience.
Hello, I am so excited to tell you about our new sponsor, NordVPN, which I am just getting schooled about myself. But NordVPN is this really cool thing that protects your data while you're traveling. So like if you're on the Wi-Fi that you're not familiar with, nobody can steal your data. It also if you want to watch a sporting event or your favorite TV show, but you're like in, I don't know, where could you be? You're in Iceland, you're in Japan, you're somewhere, and you can't get them. This NordVPN will help you to get all your favorite stuff, all your Netflix, all your favorite things. So I'm so glad they have come aboard our podcast. NordVPN is the price of a cup of coffee a month. Wow. And this part I'm reading. And your account can be used for up to 6 devices. To get the best discount on your NordVPN, go to nordvpn.com/PiVPN. And then our link will give you 4 months, 4 extra months on your 2-year plan. And there's also a money back guarantee. I mean, you really can't lose. You can only win. My motto.
Kurt, do you want to pipe in here?
What's that?
Are we just having a girl chat?
No, no, I'm enjoying. I feel like I'm, spying. But no, we, I relate to so much of more on the other side of the tracks with alcoholism in my mom, and but it's and I wish this wasn't the case, but Rachel, hearing you describe your mom and how that all worked in your house sounds like sci-fi to me. Do you know what I mean? Like
I totally
it just sounds like what?
I know.
And and it shouldn't be that way. It should be quite the norm. And look, not that we're all perfect creatures, but to have that as a foundation, even though there was an absence of perhaps a paternal figure and all that that I'm sure had has some impact
for sure
on how you live your life, but that to me is really at the end of the day, that is all we can do for our kids.
Right.
Right.
Like I have made so many mistakes. I came into Katie's life when her kids were 4 and 5, 4 and 6, and raised them really since that age, and kind of stood back and watched her do it before I was able to go, all right, let's try this. And then just made so many mistakes. But at the end of the day, I turn around and I look at where I came from and how I was raised. And I know our kids are raised in a household that is not perfect, but is for the most part free of judgment, free of shame, and rooted in a basis of love. I always tell this story is that it wasn't until I got sober and made amends that I was able to say to any member of my family, I love you. And for any of my member of my family to return that phrase. We didn't start saying, I love you until, I was in my mid-30s, and that is not something, and not that we didn't love each other. It just wasn't in our vernacular. And that my kid, is bombarded with the truth of how much I love her.
Kurt used to say to me, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
But Kurt used to say to me when we first met and I was having a hard time going through a divorce and I had these 2 little kids and, the confusion and the thing. And Kurt would say to me, look, as long as they know that you love them, that's the key. And so, through all the mistakes, because I know you've walked through a divorce with your child, yes?
We were never married, but yeah.
Yeah, but and it's like, I know for me, it was sort of like, I'm hanging on to the bitter end. I'm not going to break up this family.
Yeah, right.
Because I have
100%.
done, I come from they weren't broken up, but they should have been.
Right.
So,
right.
we've both made a lot of big boo-boos, but they know we love them. They absolutely 100% know that. But I agree with Kurt. It sounds like sci-fi.
I know. No, but it's so funny because it's just recently that I'm realizing what I had. I had never thought of it because it's just what was, and now watching and learning, and I'm like, oh my God, I had this thing
So great. Now, is she still with us?
Oh, yes.
Yes, and she's around your daughter
Oh,
now?
she's the most amazing grandmother too.
Isn't
you
that
know?
great?
Oh yeah.
So
It's-
fantastic.
It's so great. I'm very grateful. You know, really in gratitude with it because
It's a special thing.
it's a special thing.
It really is. I
Yeah.
know.
And I didn't even realize.
How about your parents? Are they around? Your mom?
Just my mom.
And she's sober.
She's sober.
Love that.
She's got, I think, 14 or 15. She's 1 year ahead of me, so she's got 14 years. She's one I never thought it would ever happen for.
Wow.
Ever. I'm like, if that woman can get sober, I hold the door open for miracles. Like, that is someone that I didn't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel's mom used to have me doing this exercise, which was, it sounds horrendous now when I look back on it, but my mom was so sick with alcoholism that her mom had me start going to Forest Lawn. And she's like, I want you to start mourning your mom. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Because the mom I knew was gone. She had been inhabited by alcoholism.
Wow.
And I couldn't function.
So you knew her before she started really drinking?
My mom?
And then she turned into like a different mom?
Well, she was periodic.
Got it.
So she would do stints and then come back and then stints,
Yeah.
right?
That's almost worse.
Yes,
It
because I
is.
would
Like
get
getting
her.
getting
Yeah.
that glimpse of hope of and then
Yes.
constantly having it
Pulled out.
Totally.
brutal.
And she was never a hole of a person or a bad person. She was so lovable. You know, same with my dad. That's why I love alcoholics. They're my favorite people. They're just so lovable.
A lot of qualities.
Yeah, but she would have me going to the cemetery and like mourning her and writing her letters because she's like, you have to kind of get on.
Oh my God,
I
that's so.
know.
I'm going to meet your mom.
I'm just thinking, really, did that come out of her mouth?
She did.
So
I would drive by myself. I remember
believe it.
I had like an audition across the street from Forest Lawn, and I was like, all right, I'll do what she suggested. And I like went after to Forest Lawn like by myself, and like it was like a whole thing.
Wow.
Okay, let's get in the weeds with this. This is also fair.
Just thinking, like, what if your mom was actually just, asking her to do these really sadistic things?
Yeah, as a joke.
I want you to go right now. I want you to go to Lincoln Heights.
Right.
And I want no.
I would have gone. I would have been like, I'm there.
So they're both sort of.
That's
I'm sorry, go ahead. Did I interrupt you, honey? I'm sorry.
You never interrupt.
I'm trying really. I'm consciously aware of allowing you to finish your sentences and not finish them for you.
Thank
Do
you.
you guys ever do that?
Oh my god,
yeah.
it's
Your
so
partners?
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sometimes, and he's very thoughtful. Kurt is extremely well thought out
Right.
about what he's saying, especially when he's had enough sleep. So sometimes I want to rush in there. It doesn't really work well. So here's my question.
Yeah.
Since you both kind of grew up without a dad, sounds like,
Yeah.
how did it affect your partner choices, girls? You know how they say, like, date a girl that has a good relationship with her dad.
Yeah.
Date a girl.
Good luck.
Right? So how did that manifest?
It's like big sighs over here.
I know. I was gonna
Go
say,
for it, Rachel.
And suddenly they're all quiet.
Bathrooms.
We're done, right?
I'm asking because I've been through, this is my
Yeah,
third
of
marriage.
course.
Right.
And, every partner I've had has a little bit of my parenting that I'm trying to heal.
Sure.
Right? Kurt's definitely way up a notch from where I come, had come from. So
Yeah.
I kind of look at relationships like we choose the people in our lives to heal what it was or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Is
mean,
that too big a question?
No. I think it makes total sense though that we do that subconsciously, and I recently been looking at some choices, just like, okay, why? And I know there has to be a why, and trying to go further and like, what's the lesson in it, or because there has to be one, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense, in a lot of them. And I have not chosen the easiest path when it comes to relationships. And without going into too much detail because of other things, I don't. It's been difficult, a difficult road I have chosen. I will say that.
Do you like to is it your, there's some people that are partner people, and then there's some people that are not, that are better off solo. Are you a partner person, or do you think you're
I think I'm a really good partner.
Are you laughing at me, Chris? I think you are.
No. Why? That's not a laughable question.
He's like, it's so funny.
That's hilarious.
I just heard a little chuckle in the back. Maybe you were drinking something. Do you find that, like my therapist always says to me, like when I was getting a divorce from my second husband, I thought, well, I'll just be single now for the rest of my life.
Right.
That's just how it will be.
Yeah.
And she would always say to me, partner people end up being partner people. Like that you partner up.
Yes.
So
I think I am. It's interesting because I've always thought of I am a good partner and I do well in partnership. I'm very, there, present. But now that I've been out of it for a while, I'm like, maybe I don't want that. Or maybe, it is really interesting. But you get so accustomed, like I said, like it's my daughter and I a lot of the time. We have our thing. And I'm like, how am I going to implement someone else into this, dynamic? So it feels like it's shifted a little, but it also could just be the choices I've made lately.
Well, I was going to say, it really is about the person I think that you pick.
Yeah.
In terms of integrating that.
Yes.
They have to be willing to, when I met Kurt, it was very clear that I was a package deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was very clear with him that if this is not going somewhere, I can't bring you in and expose them to you that way because I'm not going to do that to them again.
Right.
I had a time clock.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
But that's kind of a great
Done to
thing
his
to
head a
walk
little bit.
into, knowing what you're walking into. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I got it, and I also didn't want to, be an influence that was another dude in flight for your kids,
Right.
So it was as important to me as it was to you, I think. Do you think that? I don't know. My sense is that when, and maybe this is a little bit of sci-fi as well, but that when the person shows up where it doesn't require a lot of heavy lifting in terms of how do I implement this, isn't that would seem to me like if you're trying to navigate something that requires a lot of algorithms, perhaps it that sense of maybe I should move on is that gut feeling is right, and perhaps it becomes less of a challenge when someone that can fit in shows up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. There's not, when it is the right person, it's not going to happen
It's not
much.
switching.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I really do think kids are the greatest barometer for that. It's sort of like, it kind of cuts to the chase.
Right.
Because I dated a lot of and I hung in way too long.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But, when you bring in the children, then you realize, it's higher purpose.
Right.
Of course.
It's like, oh, I'm finally thinking about somebody other than myself.
Thank God, right?
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm making choices based not just on my own selfish whatever. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys like being moms, I can tell.
Oh, it's number one, everything.
Yeah.
The best.
Nothing comes above it.
Do you two ever fight? Like, do you guys get into arguments?
We do really well.
Yeah, we really communicate well.
We
It's
communicate
the best relationship
well.
I've ever had.
Yeah. We we do well. I mean, I'd love to, give you some great knockdown fights, but
No, not so much dirt in terms of how do you navigate around, because clearly you're in a partnership, when that stuff bubbles up, what are the tools that allow you to navigate this amazing relationship,
Honestly, I think the tools are from the program and from Rachel having the basis of her mom's kind of teachings and philosophies, that it's like, if there's anything that we ever need to discuss, it's like we both know where each other stand as far as like our integrity goes, our character. So if there's any kind of like kerfunkle, we'll talk about the feeling, like, oh, that felt weird, or I didn't like the way that felt. And then either one of us will be able to own it and be like, okay, I see that. And what do you need? It's really just communication.
They're women.
Yeah.
But not all women do it better.
Yeah, but not all women do. Like, sometimes people are hard to communicate with if there's like a lot of ego or a lot of I do think that we got lucky in our dynamic. I don't know if we got lucky or we picked each other.
Yeah.
Look
at it that way too.
Did you ever date the same guy?
No. Did we?
You?
Did we?
No.
Oh.
Did we? I don't think so.
Did we not?
Did you ever like this?
I'm sorry.
No.
That's such a
Are you
such a
kidding?
guy
That was
question.
Juicy question.
We love that kind of stuff.
No, we love it. We didn't ever.
No?
We've like hooked
No.
up with the same guy.
We have?
What do you mean? We just talked about this the other day in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count.
That was a
Oh.
friendly hookup.
Oh.
Not date.
For both of you? Friendly?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And we're all still friends.
We're all still friends.
Fantastic.
Sometimes it's a nice, friendly hookup.
I missed the era of friendly hookup. That just was not around when I was in the game.
Here's a friendly hookup. The qualifications are nobody's like die hard in love with the person.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have those either, Kurt. I think I was like, I was going to
No,
make
not
you.
not me.
the person was
I
gonna
went
be
from
alone.
first date to wedding ring.
Yeah, me too. First date to wedding ring.
I kind of like that.
I see, I
I'm not
love
going to lie.
that.
I like that.
Well,
That's not
I
my
do.
speed, I
except
feel
that
like.
then you end up making the person that you're putting the wedding ring on somebody they're not.
Oh.
Because you're just
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Right. There's that.
on making them the
No, they were
wedding
all
ring.
bad choices.
That's right.
But,
Exactly.
Okay, we don't like that then.
Yeah.
No.
It would have been better to have friendly hookups with some of those bad choices.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
So
friendly
you guys
hookups.
are a little more evolved
Well.
than our generation, which is a little bit
yeah.
older.
My question after the first date was never, do you want to go out again? It was, when do I move in?
Right. I have a U-Haul outside, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well,
Really
speaking of,
expensive.
who is your partner and how did you pick your dude?
Oh, my dude. So his name's Jeff. I met him at USM. And the cool part is, like, the way we met was in this kind of, it's called a trio, right? Where someone's a neutral observer.
Oh, thruple?
No, no, he wishes. Someone's a neutral observer, someone's a client, and someone's a facilitator, right? Because it's like a psychology program. And I was sitting there and I remember looking at him being like, he has pretty eyes, but not my type. Very like clean cut, kind of normal man looking, which I wasn't used to. I just wasn't. I was like, he's very like clean. I don't know about that. Nice hair. It was just odd. But the question was like, what is your deepest like thing that you want to heal? And I remember being like, shit, do I say it in front of this guy that might be good looking? And I couldn't get over his jeans, but whatever. So I just sat there and I was like, all right, I'm going to say it. And I said the truth that I had a pattern of calling in really incredibly deeply disappointing men. And there was a facilitator like taking me through my childhood, being like, where did this come from? Doing the whole thing. I was like crying and I was like, I remember admitting, I'm like, I just want to be loved. Like, I want to love and I want to be loved. And I can't seem to ever pick a man that's available. Like, for any of that. And so afterwards I looked at him and he's like, I think you're an incredible human.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that was like the first thing he ever said to me. Wow. And then he like waited for me after class, and all the other guys were saying things like, I could disappoint you, and like, you know what I mean? Like things like that. And I was like, gross. And he stayed after class and he's like, I just wanted to say again, I think you're an amazing human. And
because you were vulnerable.
because I was, it was the first time in my life I'd ever been honest about the fact that I felt deeply flawed, that I couldn't be in partnership, you know?
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, I called in my dad. I called in the guys that just couldn't do it.
Right.
You know?
It's a beautiful quality to be vulnerable. Really is. I remember the first date Kurt and I had, we met at a meeting, and then we finally went on a coffee date, and literally within like 10 minutes, he told me all kind of stuff about himself. Like, stuff.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
don't you remember you told me all about
In front of your sponsor?
In front, yeah, I took my sponsor with me because my picker was so messed up.
That's
I was
incredible.
Like, I'm bringing my sponsor so that she can tell me if he's a psychopath. Yeah, I mean, you told me like all about your food history. You told me all about your
Oh,
drinking
right,
history.
right.
Like within 10 minutes of knowing you, I was like, wow, this guy is really. I mean,
I had no
I feel like that's how it should be.
it's program speak. I mean, you know how we are. We're very, forthright. But it was very attractive. That vulnerability and that like, this is what I've been through stuff. Because, cut to the chase. I mean, we're all gonna, why?
And then she jumped me in the car.
I believe it.
I did kiss him. I think I was the more aggressive kisser in the car. More mean. By the side of the car. I liked him right away.
That's so cute.
Boom. Right away.
I love it.
So nice. I know. We're coming on 20 years. Great.
That's incredible.
I know. It's really great.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Pretty darn
So
cool.
good. How long have you been married?
We just celebrated 7 years, but we've been together 11.
Love that.
Yeah.
So great. And
You're like
on the
me?
single. I don't know which can I should open.
Yeah. No, but I mean, so many cans.
So many
Kicking the
cans.
cans, that's what they say.
Dating a little bit.
I guess so.
Sort of in something
Sure.
maybe.
I don't know.
Kind of. Okay, we won't talk. We'll talk off camera.
We will talk off camera.
We'll talk off camera.
But we'll keep Kurt on so that he can hear.
Kurt, I think you should ask your question that I love so much about lore.
I'm, and I always ask it differently because I never remember it correctly. The, like I know this from my own experience in that I think there's an expectation perhaps of who I am and who, what my book, so to speak, is. And there's an expectation of who might be walking in the room. And and for me, it's, I'm fascinated with that perception and that sense of lore, and then how much of it is truth, how much of it is fiction, how much of it do we, there was a time in my life where I was considered, there was a certain intimidation factor, and I leaned into that, right? I liked that. So what do you think the perception of who it is you are when you enter a room and meet somebody for the first time, and how much of that is true, and how do you navigate around that?
Or do you lean on it?
That's really an interesting question.
really
I've never heard
is.
that asked before in that way.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how people have a vision of who you're going to be. Like people think I'm scary and aloof, and I'm not really scary and aloof at all.
You are the warmest.
Ever.
And people are a little bit like, like, what?
Yeah.
Like yesterday on the plane, I have to tell you the script. So I was sitting next to this guy on the plane that I've never really met. Charlie is behind me. Charlie Hunnam is sitting behind me. And like within 5 minutes, the guy's telling me his whole life, because that's just kind of what happens. And I'm really nosy. And so I ask questions in a very nice way. And Charlie leans over and goes, is she getting in your shit? he goes, she's giving me some of the best advice of my life. It's okay, let her talk. It was so
amazing.
And I felt so like, I said, oh, I'm so sorry. Am I, and the guy was super kind and super nice, but it was, it was that kind of thing. Like,
I
people
love
don't
it.
really expect that of me. So
No.
I didn't. I
didn't
didn't
either.
expect it of either of you. I was very intimidated by Kurt. Like, you've got this kind of, I don't know if it's like cooler than everyone vibe and kind of like off the. You
Well, that's
both
true.
Yeah,
That's just the truth.
you guys both have this like I'm cooler than you'll ever be.
but you
thing.
are.
You are. But the craziest thing.
We're just fucking geeks.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, we are so glad.
But you're so warm and down to
Oh my
earth and
gosh.
feel like home. At
After
least.
meeting, we were like, that is our favorite person on the planet.
Oh.
That we were just so,
sweet.
but it's true because the perception, it is a true thing. Like,
Yes.
I was absolutely intimidated with both of you, and just to have that experience is really amazing.
So
So what's your
people
answer?
do?
I know. I'm like,
What's your, like, do
don't-
people think you're like super sweet?
I
Or they
think so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
so.
are
And
you-
I'm a fucking bitch.
And
No,
you're
I'm just kidding.
edgier than I was gonna say. Are you edgier than people
No,
perceive?
I think I am a very kind, kindness is for sure at the forefront. But I don't think I'm a bitch.
You're not a bitch. Here's though the thing.
Oh, great. Oh, I know what she's going to go into. Okay.
You do what you didn't then
What,
do
the
it.
cutthroat? Oh, no.
Oh, she's cutthroat.
I'm a little
Shit.
cutthroat. Like one time, like,
What does that mean?
She's cutthroat. Like, I love people. Like, I'm obsessed with people. Like, if I was on the plane, I'll have everybody's story. They'll be sitting on my lap. I'll braid their hair. She'll be like, no. Like she's got a real tight boundary on who she lets in. You do. You've got boundaries on that kind of stuff.
I'm not good with boundaries, so it's interesting to hear
You
her
do
put
have
it that way.
good with boundaries as far as like who you let into your world.
The public, because you're a public person. So maybe
And
that.
yeah, people think you're so sweet.
It's so weird because people, like friends at school and moms are like, you talk to everybody. And I do. Like if I'm in a line and there's and I'm like, oh, what's your daughter? So it's interesting. Whatever. Anyway.
I mean,
What
in
about you?
the inner,
Okay.
in your inner circle, you're more protective of who you let
That
in,
makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
She's not going for it.
No, I'm going.
No, I get it.
It's our first fight here.
I think. Because we brought out the best in somebody. I would think, my perception of Rachel would be, and I think when I went to see you, was that I was going to meet a very sweet, kind, I'm going to say, but not, but close to the
That's
chest.
awesome.
And I think I sort of think that because as a public person also, there is a part of you that becomes self-protective in those ways because, people just say shit. So,
Yeah.
but I think that was the right perception when I met you the first time. And you, who I had met in our other little collective,
Yes.
I didn't know really. So I wasn't sure exactly. I mean, we all have that commonality in our club,
Right.
which is my favorite thing about it, is that I don't know a lot about anybody except that.
Yeah. Totally.
And, but yeah, I would think you're a bit of a badass.
Well, her face. I mean,
She's got a
the
badass face.
and the eyes and like when I saw her picture in junior high school, I saw her picture in the yearbook, and I was like, oh my god, she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But also, she looks like a bitch.
Is Katie laughing? Katie must have thought I was a bitch. People always think I'm a bitch,
I mean, look
and
at
I'm
the
really
face
not.
and the eyes. And
You
know?
you could have that.
she's like that
sort of-
hard look.
Yeah, she's got that gorgeous sort of
Yeah.
don't fuck with me look.
Yeah, but she's like the most approachable.
The you don't have a chance look.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
And everybody's got a chance. Let me tell you.
Isn't it interesting how we self-protect? I wonder how much of that is it's just our bone structure, but how much of it really is that, we bring our childhood with us and we have to have our dukes up sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
completely.
And I think that's why you two were so nice, because you didn't have her upbringing was with her mom and the love and all of that kind of stuff, that I do think that all of that translated into your whole demeanor.
Oh God, it just reminds me, before I got sober, I used to really think that really happy people were stupid. I just thought if you're really happy, because I thought, I had such a cynical, dark edge.
Right.
as protective mechanism that I was just like, what are you so happy? Or I was suspicious of it. It was like,
Right.
You're like, you must not be paying attention.
yeah, or
Yeah.
something.
Right. You're asleep.
Right. But that's not my experience anymore.
Well, I think people that are always happy kind of wig me out a little bit. Like, even though you had a happy upbringing with your mom, like she's got a lot of life under her belt now.
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like we almost switched places in a way.
Yeah.
Like where mine came really early, and then I took a break for a minute once I got sober. I was like, okay, I'm collecting some peace, if you will. And then she had never
really hit the
experienced
fan.
And then she got served some life,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
All that love didn't really.
Yeah, all right, Mom, where's the fucking love now?
That is the truth.
That's when your mom should have been sending you to the cemetery.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's so funny, because love, the overabundance of love around something. This is one of my issues with USM, which is University of Spiritual Psychology. Is that
University of Santa Monica, but it's a spiritual psychology program. Yeah.
I felt that there was a lot, the people I've known there do a lot of spiritual bypassing.
Oh, they teach you not to.
They teach you not to do
They teach you
spiritual
about spiritual bypassing.
Oh, but see, my experience with people I've known that have done that.
Yeah.
They're into that. It's sort of like taking, like nothing, just go straight to the love. Just
Never.
Don't go through the experience of the pain, which is where we actually learn things.
Yeah.
Just go straight to, okay, which is another form of denial, like everything will be.
100%. So they teach that at school. They'll be like, if you get up and share about a problem, and they'll be like, okay, well, what do you think is next? And they'll be like, well, it's just to be in peace. They'll be like, not without going back to do the work to heal the wound.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a spiritual bypass. But I think it attracts a lot of people that are looking for a bypass.
Yes.
So then you're going to get people that bypass.
Right. That was my experience. Like they just go quickly to the like, oh, well, everything happens for a reason, and so everything is fine.
I hate that. To be honest.
Well, I believe things happen for reasons, but I think sometimes the reason is to go deeper and to be in more pain.
Right.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To go to the wound.
To go
Like it happened for a reason, and what is it, and what needs to be healed.
Right. Like I said, there's always a lesson. Like you have to.
Yeah.
It is about going deeper.
That's when you're in the hallway. That's where the spiritual growth is happening.
One of our people from our rooms has taught me one of my favorite sayings of all times, because like it's the opposite of a spiritual bypass. Is we feel our feelings so that we don't become our feelings.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? Like we feel upset so that we don't become angry. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because it's like if you look at angry people, it's because they didn't give themselves the permission first to feel what was being hurt.
100%.
Yeah. So
I know. I was just in a meeting. We've talked about this too, where, we were talking about resentments, which, we're taught sort of like resentment is not a safe place for people with any kind of addictive qualities to really stand in. And I struggle with that a little, because resentment and anger has motivated me in a lot of ways to get out of situations that weren't good for me, to really kind of, feel it, because I'm such a people pleaser. I would rather just sort of take it, but not really. So I'd have to get angry enough to move. Do you have that experience, Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, it's the awareness for me that, I'm not a quitter, so I have to get really uncomfortable before I'm willing to change. And so it always like, and I'll try to bypass.
yeah.
And I will always look for the softer, easier way. And that is my default. And then ultimately, I'll get uncomfortable enough because I am in awareness, right? If I'm sober, if I'm showing up, if I'm doing the work on a daily basis, I cannot help but be aware. And eventually that awareness leads me to, oh, fuck, I got to do something about it. So, and then I'm usually willing to do something about it. So yeah, you have to, all that stuff, the anger and the resentments, it has, you have to acknowledge it. And, and man, I still have a couple of resentments that they're still, I'm still tethered.
You're motivated
like
by it.
It's
like 'em.
hard.
It is really hard.
Yeah.
The whole concept of let go is hard.
When I got sober, though, I had never felt anger before. I didn't know I was angry. I was like, I'm not angry. That's not something I feel at all. And I was like, and the resentment part's going to be easy. I don't really have any. And then 15 notebooks later, I was like, oh, shite. I'm very angry,
Yeah.
like had no idea.
Well, you're medicating.
I was meditating. I was numb.
We self-medicate all of our feelings so that, all that hurt, Alcoholism is like the emotional amplifier. That's what I think when you have alcoholism, you're just big. You feel everything, you hear everything louder. So we're trying to tone it down.
I have a question for you about alcoholism and your art. Because sometimes I get confused by it. Sometimes I'm like, is this feeling I'm feeling inside motivating me to create, to do this like passion, to do this thing? Or is it just fucking alcoholism? Does that make sense? Because to me, it's like the disease of more, right?
Oh, well,
it's that God-sized hole. It's that thing like I need something, right? And do you want to take that?
I think obsession is the line for me. Like determining what is my humanity, what's my purpose, and then the pursuit of that is like, look, there's nothing, money, property, and prestige there's nothing wrong with it, right? And the pursuit of it is my humanity, is my desire to hunt and gather. It's all that stuff. But when it crosses the line into obsession and it no longer serves me and it becomes my higher power and it becomes more important than being spiritually connected, having deeper relation, all the things that truly determine whether or not I'm a decent human being. That's, to me, then it becomes the ism. So I have to look at, that line I cross, when the behavior crosses from human desire and passion into obsession.
Right.
And then it no longer serves me.
Does
that make sense?
It makes absolute perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's a great line to have. Because sometimes it can get clouded.
Well, you think it's drive. You think it's
That's what I'm
drive.
saying. I'm
Right,
like, is this
right.
drive or am I just like an alcoholic that wants more?
I think to Kurt's point, if it starts to define you or you're not okay without it, then you've crossed into an obsession.
The obsession.
And don't make the decision. Don't, look, we're all very smart individuals, but this,
You're pointing at your head.
my noise, my obsession can, if I'm not connected, if I'm not talking to somebody about it, it can very easily start to sound like the voice of God. And that's when I have to go, I probably shouldn't be the only one making this choice. You know what I mean? Like, or, like putting it like you're doing now, like putting it on the table so that you get the input to then have perspective, at least to move forward. It's when we're in our head with it and trying to figure it out on our own, I think that it gets a little dicey.
Right. Which is the alcoholic tendency. We think I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I'll figure it out. I got it.
Yeah.
And you know what? My best like we say, my best thinking was not really my best thinking. Much better to get somebody else's opinion of it, So are you extremely driven, both of you, either of you? Who's ambitious?
I feel like I feel like I have a big internal drive.
She does.
I do.
I don't know that
Very
I
much
do.
so.
You so much? Not so much.
I'm like, I don't know that I do. No, it depends. When it comes to my kid,
When it comes to your kid,
Yeah.
that's great. Are you a dreamer though? Are you like a person that, I want, not, dreamer is the better word. Not that I want, but,
right.
do you have ambition for yourself?
Say, yes, I do. But I'm also like, I can be completely content,
That's nice.
It's different, right? Isn't it amazing?
You can be both stoic and a dreamer.
That's true. You can.
Yeah.
If you read the Stoics, they're all dreamers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have that.
Yeah.
You do have the book.
I do have many
She
books.
has many Stoicism books.
Are you a self-help book person?
Not really.
Oh, good.
No, but I'm gifted these things and I take them in.
Oh, that's nice. My favorite thing these days, and this is where I find peace and serenity. Kurt's gonna laugh at me. I knit and I watch really bad television.
That's
See,
amazing.
that's what that
Do you
is
like to do that?
Look, I want to learn how to knit, number one, and bad television is my like that is what.
All right, let's go there. What's your shows right now?
Well, I haven't done anything real recently, but like the Love Is Blind,
100%.
obsessed. I can't not any of that crap. And anytime there's a new one
I know.
that's shittier than the last,
My Jones right now?
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed.
What is it?
Married at First Sight.
Oh, love it.
Oh my God.
Is it good? I've never seen
It's
one
so
of
good.
them.
They don't even see them until they're walking down the aisle.
But then it is such an interesting psychological.
Oh, yeah.
You just see people like.
It's like
Fuck
getting married in
themselves over.
blackout.
It's
There
like getting
you
married
go.
in blackout.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you watch people sabotage. It's really like, I mean, it's horrible. It's like watching a train wreck,
Yeah.
a car wreck.
Completely.
You can't turn around.
Completely.
But
Does
I
it
find
make you? Does it give you comfort? Like, is it
I
like?
don't know. I think it gives me a meditative blank.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to
I'm
fit your
knitting,
just
I'm
totally.
it's just it's
Yeah.
a bit of a zen.
It-
I
It's
love
a
it.
zen
That is my
moment.
perfect scene. What you were describing.
It's what?
My perfect scene.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
You need to learn to knit.
I
Knitting
really
is
do.
fantastic.
I feel like
really
you
do.
would be.
I would be so.
Yes.
I would get
I'll
into
tell
it.
you where to go.
Yeah, you got
Love
to do
it.
that.
My daughter wants to learn too, so we could do it
Oh,
together.
it's just such a. I know.
Yeah.
That's my jam.
I love it so much.
Where are we, Katie?
Hot time.
I think it's pie time.
This is the third segment of our show
Cool.
where we ask.
We have segments.
We have segments. We ask our guests to let us know their favorite pie and and why it's their favorite pie.
Ooh.
Like if there's any kind of childhood memory attached to it. If there's any kind of like House of Pies when I was really drunk. I used to love
House of
Fernando
House of Pies.
Oh my God. We love House
We
of
love House of
We
Pies.
have stories with House
We
of Pie.
have House of Pie memories.
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Big time.
We want to hear. So we're I think Katie, are you bringing in the pie?
Just bringing in pie.
Now, okay, whose pie is this?
Yeah. Who decided together?
I think we did a joint. I mean, I said it,
Great.
But I'm definitely
She's
down
a
with
key lime pie
key lime
girl.
pie. I make a good key lime pie.
Do you?
Yes.
Are you a cook?
Yeah, I like to.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You?
she's a good cook.
I don't like to anymore.
You don't like to,
I've
yeah.
been a mom too long.
I get it.
I'm kind of over it.
Get it.
But anyway, let's try.
Yes.
So tell us a House of Pie story.
Is
Oh my gosh.
Where's this pie from?
Where's
Do we
this
know?
pie from, Katie? Katie, where's the pie
It's from Second Place Pie.
Second Place Pie.
She made it especially for you.
Yeah. That.
Are they
my
a
God.
sponsor?
Yes, because we got it for free.
Does
Yeah.
Kurt have
Yes.
a piece of pie?
He does.
I do.
Oh, good.
You do.
This is so good.
This is
Really good.
outstanding.
Do you like key lime pie?
I do right now.
Yeah.
Mine would not be my go-to, but this tastes like better than
I like
whatever.
tart.
Oh my God, it is so good.
So good.
It's so good.
I love your fork.
Very good.
So tell us a House of Pie story or some kind of key lime story or something.
We.
Guys,
Oh, she's really. This one in food.
I get really taken over by the food.
All right. Please.
No, tell the story.
A story. I feel like you're better at telling it than I am. We would always go
Wants
there.
to eat the pie.
Yeah, we're like,
I'm like, leave me alone. I'm eating pie.
leave me alone. I'm
God.
starving.
We were in our 20s. We were with two guys. I don't remember who the guys were. I remember one of them was her boyfriend at the time. We caught a laugh, okay? Rachel and I started laughing. we didn't know what we were laughing at. Like nothing. It just happened. And you know when you get that like guttural, cannot stop laughing, can't even articulate why we got that. And the guys are just going, what in the is going on here? We're crying. The waitress comes to take our order. She catches it. She doesn't know why she's got it now.
She's laughing too?
She caught the laugh so bad. She couldn't work. She couldn't take our order. She would then, every time she'd walk by our table, hold up a menu and hide her face so she couldn't see us. Because if she looked at us, she would just lose it.
And start laughing.
Oh my God.
Could not even take our order.
Was it the dudes you were with? Were they the funny thing?
We don't know.
Did you ever see them again?
Yeah, I was like, that was our first and last.
But every time now when we get like a really deep, contagious laugh, we'll be like, House of Pies.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I know, it's
I love a deep, contagious laugh.
Yeah.
Me too.
I love working on a television series because of that. You know, when you do a comedy show and like you can't get through the thing because everybody's laughing so hard.
Yeah.
That's a super fun thing to have happen.
That's it's like my favorite feeling. And we do get that a lot.
get it
Like
a lot.
more with each other, I feel like, than anyone.
Yeah. We were like, in the front row of our friend's play, and it was a serious play. It was Romeo and Juliet, and we got it so hard in the front row of the play and had to exit
We
the
had to
theater.
leave.
I was going to say one of
We had to leave.
Oh, yeah. No, we had to leave.
Wow. Do you know what triggered it? Just anything. Nothing random, just whatever.
Honestly, I think it was his tights. I do.
Tights will do it.
Tights will do it.
It was like right there.
Right.
And we just were like, and we looked at each other and just lost it.
Guy.
I know.
Poor guy.
He probably did.
And our friend was like so happy to be in this play. She was so seriously playing Juliet. And we were like, you know.
We had to go.
That happened at the end of Moulin Rouge too, when she was
I there?
dying. Yes. When Nicole Kidman was dying,
We laughed.
we were crying so hard we started laughing, and then it overtook us to the point where we had to walk out of the theater.
I don't remember that, but I believe it.
Yeah,
You girls seem like such great friends. That's such a
We're
nice
pretty lucky.
thing.
we are lucky.
It really, it's rare. I don't think I have any friends from high school.
Really?
No, I think, no, I don't. How about you, honey? Do you have any friends from high school?
Do you have any friends?
I have no. No, I have. I got in trouble for saying that I have no friends because my friends were like, "Fuck you."
Right.
So, friends from high school. I have a couple. I have not in close contact, but there's still a couple of guys that are in my orbit that I went to high school with. But most, one of them back in Jersey. One of them I think is in Arizona now.
Yeah, but I think it's really rare to find that. You girls are super lucky. Like my daughter had really good girlfriends when she finally went to college, and I'm so envious because they're all still super tight, and it's her crew, and I never had a crew. That's why I have a family. Because
We'll be your crew.
But you guys, that's really beautiful to see.
It really is like family at a certain point. It's like we know each other better.
We finish each other's sandwiches.
I always say, like, if anything were to happen to me, she has to move in with my family and take care of my husband and children and like Marianne. You know, because I'm like,
She has told me that.
yeah.
How often do you see each other? You do your podcast once a week?
Well,
No.
sometimes more. We see each other almost every day during the week.
We're psychotic, if you want to know the truth. We do a podcast where we
sisters.
talk.
Yeah.
We call each other on the way.
When we leave each other, we're who we talk to.
We
in the
call
car.
each other from it. Like, we didn't just talk for 5 hours. And we could just be like, okay, and then I'm picking up, so I'm walking into Target. And we just like, yeah.
I think that's really
Women, I just find that quality like fascinating. No, I don't mean that. And I don't mean that in a like fascinating kind of way. I mean that in really, there's a openness and a, and just a communication level that I think I'm not going to say dudes don't understand, but that I have trouble understanding, because I find that, I find it so difficult to have that sort of level of conversation with somebody. It's like it's either hello or this is the trauma I had when I was 11. Like those are the two areas of conversation I know. So anything in between that, it just, I don't know, it's just fascinating.
But it's interesting, Kurt, you are able to have those conversations easier with women than you are with men. That's what I've always known about you.
Absolutely, yeah. I was raised mostly by women.
Sisters,
So,
he had sisters, and, so
Yeah.
it's probably why he writes women so well, too.
That makes a big difference.
Huge.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we do that too, as far as like the trauma. We'll be like, she'll be in Target and I'll be like, oh, I figured out what it is. I'll be like, I know why you dated him. It's because, and we'll just like
Break it down. Yeah.
So much is revealed in Target.
Yeah. So much. So much.
There's so much trauma in your perspective. And you're just looking at it and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, so great. So do either of you guys, are you working right now? Do you have anything you want to tell us about, or any charities that you love, or anything that,
Worth plugging.
worth plugging? This is our plug part of the segment. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Or
our
charities or
Your podcast.
Yeah, Broad Ideas.
podcasts.
Oh, yes, tell us. Okay, Broad
Yes.
Ideas is your podcast.
It is our podcast.
It's
We
really
have
good.
A lot
Everybody should listen to
of
that.
fun with it.
everybody loves your episode.
Your episode is
We got
fantastic.
in the weeds.
We got into it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Broad Ideas. Basically, we're similar in the sense of it's not a bunch of canned questions. We just like to get to know people and go with whatever presents. But really, we love people feeling a little bit less alone. So we'll talk about the things like mental health, anxiety. We hope you leave with an insight and a laugh. That's kind of the vibe. It's like, hope you might learn something and laugh a little bit along the way. And we're also on the board of a nonprofit called Continue On, which is to help get funds for suicide prevention.
Oh,
Yes.
very helpful.
Yeah. So that is something that we recently both became executive producers on a film called Continue. And
It's a friend of ours film. She's an incredible filmmaker. And we've just joined forces with this extension of the film, Continue.
So if people want to know more about that organization, how would they do that?
Continueon.org, right?
yep.
Continueon.org.
And it's on Instagram or continueon.org.
All right.
Yeah.
And you can donate money.
Yes.
You can donate money to that. And we're trying to come up, like, the overarching goal is to create a subsidy for mental health support for
Youth or
yeah.
people that, don't have the means
Got it.
for it.
That's a big one for us.
That's a good one. That's
great.
That's
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Where do we like people to leave our podcast
Yeah, we
with,
don't.
Katie?
What do we like them to leave with? Well, we have our
Yeah, like, how do we-
segments. Do you guys have segments?
We just have the show, and then at the end we
No,
do
no. I mean, what do you want people to take away from it? Like
When they leave?
they want, I think we want people to feel uncomfortable and slightly wired from all the sugar.
Oh, okay, got
Pretty
it.
good. Or I know what I don't want people to feel, which is that they have been. I don't want anybody to feel like exploited, like they've spilled the beans about something they don't want to spill the beans about. I'm so fucking nosy. I can ask.
But you're going to ask the questions.
I'm going to ask questions.
sure.
And I just really like it if people are like,
Yeah.
we're not going there right now.
Right.
So that's what I would say, honey. What you like the sugar buzz and
No, I was just being an asshole. I think. No, I do. I think the interesting thing of not really having an agenda with this, meaning it is, and not to sound, home, kind of folksy, but, and I get the sense that it's the same thing that you ladies are doing with yours as well, is if you come by the house for coffee, this is what happens.
Right. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just who we. It's just what happens. So we don't really think of it in terms of not that we're irresponsible, but we. This is just how we live and what we're interested in. So we don't. It doesn't really have we don't really have an agenda, but other than to just kind of be who we are, and it's more about us getting to know people we want to get to know.
Right.
Really.
Because we're pretty reclusive.
Yeah, like I never leave the house, so this is the only way I get to know
We're both
people.
pretty reclusive. Well, Kurt for sure. He's a writer, so it's
Yeah,
been,
right.
in that realm. But I can be a bit reclusive too.
Yeah.
Like
Do
I
you-
can really.
Do you recharge from connecting, or would you rather be alone?
Well, knitting. And
I was gonna say
knitting.
knitting.
So would you consider yourself an introvert, both of you?
I wouldn't say I would say I'm a loner. That's what I would say. Introvert. I don't know if I'm an introvert. Do you think I'm an introvert?
So it means how you recharge,
No,
right?
I think
Not your
I think we're both avoiders, and then when we have to be, we deal with it by being an extrovert.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes
okay,
sense.
that makes sense.
I feel like I
Good
relate to
explanation.
that.
But we
Yeah.
really
Are you a
do.
writer?
That's right. We do love people. I love people. I think that
Yeah.
people are really fascinating, but only kind of on this level. Or watching a boxing match. That's our thing lately. We have pizza and watch boxing.
fun.
Which Kurt's really got me into. I love watching boxing.
Fun.
So
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So, and then we don't talk at all. We're just watching people
Yeah.
beat each other up.
No big deal.
But other than these kinds of conversations, like small talk is not my thing.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
So, okay. I think, have we pied? Have we?
Pied.
I feel.
Once
This
we
was
stop recording, I'm
fantastic.
gonna finish eating my pie.
Okay, she's going to keep
Yeah.
eating.
Thank you for
Thank
welcoming us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Denise.
Okay.
And when I'm in town, I'll come visit
Yeah,
you ladies.
please.
Please do. We would love that.
I
would
love
love that.
Rachel's
I would
house,
love that.
Kurt.
Thank you.
Rachel has a great house. Love
Thanks.
Rachel's
Yes.
house.
I need to get it dialed in. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you saying that.
Thank you.
All right, turn off the cameras.
All right, we're done. Thank you.
Bye.
For pie.
A little bit. Love you.